Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Rachel Pokrant, and I am the Vice President and Campus Dean for the Leadville and Salida campuses of Colorado Mountain College. And you'll see on my first slide there on the screen that we have other folks from the Salida campus of CMC and also the Salida School District, your wonderful principal and your counselor Merrill there. And everybody's going to kind of jump in and take a piece this evening and make sure that you have all the information that you need to understand what our new concurrent enrollment program looks like in your schools. So just a bit of an overview. We hope that you're going to learn sort of the basics of concurrent enrollment tonight and what you need to do to make yourself successful if you're patching in and you're a student, or to help your student if you're a parent. We will cover sort of a general overview of the college because we're so new to your community. We want to make sure you know who we are and who your great school district is partnering with. And then Kristen Vogel, who's our concurrent enrollment coordinator for the college, she will give you an overview of what concurrent enrollment really is and what you or your student can get out of that program. We'll also do an overview of what the college is offering in the Salida schools and in the larger community starting in the fall of 2020. And then there'll be questions and answers, and you're welcome to put your questions into the chat at any time. We'll try to get to those as we go through. I do have you all muted because we found out that it works best if you put your questions and answers or comments in the chat for us, and we will work our way through them. So at the end, we'll just stop, and any questions that you have, we will try to answer. Try to keep those questions general. If you have questions about a particular student, it's always best to reach out to us after this and make an appointment and talk to your school or to us at CMC. But general questions, please ask anything. Usually those are things that other people are dying to ask anyway, so just write them there in the chat. So I am going to get started here with our first slide. So again, just to make sure that you all understand who Colorado Mountain College is, this was our map prior to November 5th of 2019. So everything that's in yellow is considered in our district, which means that those communities pay a mill levy to the college, and that pretty much supports the college to the tune of about 70% of our funding. So we're really focused on those areas that are part of our district. The areas in green, which included Salida up until November, were in our service area. So we served those communities as much as we can. Some of your students have probably already taken classes with CMC that were connected to Salida High School, but it's really at a baseline minimal level of service compared to what happens when you're in our district. So this is our new map. Salida and Poncha Springs joined our district in the fall of 2019. So as a school district now, you get the full service of CMC, which is why we're sort of relaunching our concurrent enrollment program and really offering the same level of service that we do around our district. We have an extremely robust concurrent enrollment program with students getting industry certificates and degrees while they're still in high school, and Salida High School will now have the opportunity to take advantage of those programs moving forward. We are very excited to be part of your community, and we take our responsibility to your community really, really seriously. We know that it's a big deal to vote for a tax for higher education, especially in this current climate, and we intend to just bring tons of value to all of you who supported us in our efforts to serve your community more deeply. So quick overview of CMC, because I think some people don't know who we are necessarily. So we were founded in 1965, so we had a 50th anniversary a couple years ago. We are a public college district. Often people will say, well, you're a community college, or oh, you're this kind of college. Because we operate in small communities and we try to provide a large swath of services, we don't really fit into any of those normal buckets that you might think of. You're a 4-year school, you're a 2-year school. We're kind of everything. So we are called a local public college district. We offer 5 bachelor's degrees currently, and we will have 10 in the next few years because we just got the okay from the state to add a whole bunch of bachelor's degrees. We have 54 associate's degrees and 77 certificates. And certificates are things like emergency medical technician, or a certified welder, or certificates that you can get that then take you directly into a career that you don't necessarily need a degree for. So that's what we're saying when we're talking about certifications or certificates. We also do non-credit training. We have kind of a community connector role, doing things like offering small business workshops and opportunities for folks to learn in the community like that. We are accredited by the Higher Learning Commission, which is the same commission that accredits all of the colleges in the state and most of the colleges in the nation. And we do follow the curriculum of the Department of Higher Education of the state of Colorado. And this is usually a trivia question that I ask students when I meet with them, because we're all these super small campuses dotted around 12,000 square mile footprint. And so I'll ask our students, how many students do you think go to CMC? And they'll say, oh, 1,000, because they're just used to their local smaller campus, but there are 6,000 active students at CMC. So if we were all together on one big campus, we'd look a lot more like a CSU or an institution like that. But because we're sprinkled throughout the mountains, we feel a little bit smaller, and we love that because we think we provide a lot of personal service and attention to our students. And again, please feel free to ask questions in the chat if you have more questions about who the heck Colorado Mountain College is. I am going to hand it over to Kristen Vogel. She's the cute one there in the pigtails with the glasses on, and she is our concurrent enrollment coordinator at the college, and she works directly with high schools and students, and she's going to fill you in on everything there is to know about what concurrent enrollment is. And I need to unmute you. There you go.
All right. Thanks, Rachel. Oh, it's my COVID hairstyle. Pigtails. All right. So what is concurrent enrollment? It is a simple question with kind of a longer answer. It is a statewide program that became a law in 2009, the Concurrent Enrollment Programs Act. It allows high school students to earn college or vocational credit toward a post-secondary diploma, certificate, or degree, all with the high school or school district paying the tuition of the course. Students are enrolled in a college class and also receive credit toward their high school diploma. So what does that mean? The intention of the program is to basically kill 2 birds with 1 stone, for the lesser of a better phrase. If, for example, a student is taking English Composition 1 through Colorado Mountain College, they then receive high school English credit, and they will receive transferable college credit for that one class. Concurrent enrollment classes can be taught in the high school by a CMC credentialed instructor, outside of the high school, and online. It is important to understand that concurrent enrollment classes are college classes, and the grade received in the class will go on an official transcript. And that follows the student. As long as you request a transcript and want to have those classes go to another school, it will follow the student. Most courses are transferable in any state, I should say, and that's Colorado, Public Higher Education Institution, under a guaranteed transfer agreement. So let's take English Composition 1 as an example again. Most, if not all, universities require 2 classes of English Composition, English Comp 1 and English Comp 2, just as general education requirements. So if a student takes English Comp 1 while they're in high school, when they graduate, they'll have a high school transcript and they'll have a CMC transcript. They will then turn those transcripts into the college, and the college will evaluate it and say, awesome, this student has gotten a C or higher in English Composition 1, and they don't have to take that class anymore. You get automatic credit moving forward for that class. So it's one less class that a student has to take at a university in the future. So what does this mean for Salida? We have quite a few offerings that we will be hosting in Salida. CMC will offer general education transfer courses. They'll have career and technical courses, and they'll have Friday career academies. And you can check it all out at that website at the bottom.
Okay, we're going to pass it over now to Tammy and Meryl.
Hey, everybody. I don't know if Tammy's unmuted too. Is she unmuted?
Yes, hi.
Can't see you. You're down the line. So we have a few classes that will be offered in school next year. So we're really excited about that. We've always had, not always, but for a while, we've had creative writing. But now we will also have an intro to business class, which is offered in the fall, and then it will be a principles of marketing class in the spring. And then we're going to have creative writing. Of course, there's semester 1, semester 2, the literature, if I could find the actual, what they're actually called over here, but it's also paired with AP Lit. So that's the same, all under the same class. And then we also are going to have college algebra, which will be offered in the fall, and stats, which will be offered in the spring. So those pair together. So it's Mat 121 and Mat 135, which are really great, especially for a lot of our seniors who are looking to have some of those transfer credits. College algebra is required for almost all of them. So that's a nice one to have, and it's taught live. And then we also are going to have environmental sciences class. Environmental sciences will span for the entirety of the school year for our high school. So for a high school credit, you'll get a full credit, but you'll only get 1 semester of credit for CMC. We just spread it out that way. The other ones are all semester, broken up in a semester each, and then you get 3 or 4 college credits depending upon the class. And hopefully we'll keep growing more of these. Here's the career and technical courses, which I'm going to let Tammy and Amy talk about a little bit more, but these are really great, and we've had a lot of kids that are taking advantage of these, and hopefully more in our automotive classes taught by the Mr. Legendary, Mr. Tonoff. And it's a really neat thing for kids to be able to come out of school with a break certification that they can, like Rachel was saying, go into that field and actually work. And then also with building trades, getting a carpentry certificate is pretty cool. Plus they also get an OSHA certificate. So a lot of our students that are participating in building trades right now have a pretty nice summer gig at DSI and are making some pretty decent money for the summer. So that's cool. And they really love it. There's one of our kiddos in that picture, hard at work. They have built the Spartan Heights, which are also helping house our teachers. So that's awesome.
One of the interesting things about the building trades class is that is like a 2 or 3 hour block for our students, because they do go off site, they leave campus. They have to have a minimum of a 2 or 3 hour block in order to take advantage of that program. So that is one of the things that we've worked really hard to make sure we have that accessible to students, both getting to the job site and rearranging schedules to make sure we have that block of time for them to participate in. Those programs that you see there, the automotive and the building trades, are both those certificated programs that Rachel talked about. And so there's a number of courses that they take through CMC to help them gain that certificate. So it's a number of courses that they gain or that they'll go through in that process, but it's all hands-on learning. So they learn it on the job, doing what they're going to do in the future. And for a number of our kiddos, that is the best way to learn for them. It's they're touching on math, they're touching on science, they're doing a lot of those things, but they're integrating it into what they want to use it for, so it makes more sense, and it oftentimes makes it easier for them to learn.
True. Amy, did you want to give a quick rundown of all of the different sort of like all the numbers?
All the
I don't know
numbers.
if anybody wants to know.
There are a lot of numbers. So for breaks, it's part of, there's a larger automotive program at Salida High School, and then CMC can give a certificate just kind of in the subcategory of breaks based on the lab environment and everything. So that's a series of 3 to 4 classes. I don't have it up right in front of me. And you start with kind of a basic shop orientation type class and then work through. And so students can start in that track their freshman or sophomore year if they want to. They don't have to wait until their junior or senior year. If they're going to take that kind of intro to auto class their 9th or 10th grade year, they can start then. And kind of the same thing with building trades. They start out in a lower certificate in carpentry, which they can start again their 9th or 10th grade year. They take a series of classes, and once they finish that, then they can move into the construction certificate, and that is working on the job site at Spartan Heights generally. And it's typically more the latter half, so like maybe their junior or senior year, or possibly their sophomore year if they're ready for that and it works into their schedule.
Okay, we are going to move on now to talk about our Friday Career Academies. So Amy Dennis was just talking there. She's our site coordinator at the Salida campus of CMC, and she's the one that sort of meets with students and helps them decide what classes to take along with Kristen. And I'm also going to unmute Dan Robertson, who is a business faculty, and also we'll be coordinating our business internship program, and they will tell you about Friday Career Academies.
Thanks, Rachel. So one of the things we're going to do this year are the Friday Career Academy. So these are for students who want to try something, maybe dabble in something, get a taste of a specific career track without the huge commitment of going off to a 4-year school and declaring that major and then discovering maybe that wasn't the right thing for them. So the first one we have will be health careers. It'll start off with an intro to health careers where they'll get to explore a variety of different kinds of health careers. They'll get a very basic personal patient care assistant or personal care assistant certificate in the fall. And then if they want to continue on into the spring, they'll go into our certified nurse aide classes. And then so when they finish that series of academies, they'll come out with their certified nurse aide. The second Career Academy is ecosystem studies, and this is more for students who are maybe interested in that forestry, natural resources, you know, parks and wildlife type of career track. And in the fall, they'll take intro to natural history class, and in the spring, they'll take a sustainability class. And then Dan, do you want to talk about your business internship?
Yeah, thanks, Amy. The business internship program is something that's evolving as we speak right now. We're creating it for both students of just CMC, but also Salida High School students. And the idea is to give students as much hands-on learning with local businesses that they would be interested in, and that the business is interested in having students join them. You know, in the trades, you get a lot of hands-on experience, and we want to do that for students who are looking for some business experience as well. And then for the Career Academy, also potentially helping some of the seniors in their capstone projects at Salida High School. So it's an evolving program that we're really excited about. I don't have a whole lot of details at this time because, like I said, it is evolving, but we're really excited about it, and it should be a great opportunity for students.
Great.
Great. All right. I am going to turn it over now back to Kristen, and she's going to tell you sort of a little bit more information about concurrent enrollment, and then she and Meryl will take over and talk about the next steps. So if you're ready to enroll or talk to a counselor a bit further about this, what you will do next. And Kristen, you need to unmute yourself. There you go.
I just did. I was like, why is it blinking at me? Oh my goodness. Okay. Yes. So concurrent enrollment classes require a student to be college ready. And some of your students may have heard this, that they need to take an AccuPlacer test. And as everything has unfolded lately, our AccuPlacers got canceled because we couldn't do in-person testing, and we do have a different format for them now. We also have several different other options to determine whether a student is college ready or not. Now, I have, how do I want to say this? The terms college ready and AccuPlacer test are not my favorite. And they're not my favorite because they're intimidating terms. A test. What? An AccuPlacer cannot be passed or failed. It is strictly a scoring mechanism. And then college ready. That sounds like if I don't place college ready, then I'm not smart. And why didn't I place college ready when my best friend did? Or I was only 2 points away from getting into the class, so doesn't that mean I can still do it? And the answer is no, not really. But our goal is to set students up for success. So when you hear college ready, think of success. And if your student is only a couple points away, we can definitely reevaluate that. But there's nothing worse than getting a student enrolled in a class that has heavy reading, maybe 4 books assigned. They have to read all 4 within a semester and write a 25-page paper with perfect MLA formatting and a 10-page works cited or whatever the case is. And they really only feel comfortable in their past academics to write a 1-page essay. That's not setting a student up for success. That's not putting them in a good situation. What that actually is going to do is scare them away from higher ed. It will be a horrible, horrible experience. Our goal is to instill love of education, not to scare them away from it. So we want students to want to continue education after high school, and we want them to be successful while they are at a younger age in high school and feel prepared for moving on post-high school. And again, in order to do that, we typically assess with an AccuPlacer, or we have some other measurements, and that can be discussed with the high school counselor and myself. But it's PSAT 10 scores, a self-assessment, cumulative GPA. So it's a whole bunch of measurements that we can look at. Do you want me to go, Meryl? I'll go. Tuition is free unless a student withdraws or gets below a C in the class. So up front, there is no cost. You register for a class and Salida schools will pay for that tuition. It is $80 a credit, $85 a credit. Rachel, correct me. 85. So if you are successful in the class, you get a C or higher, that's it. You are done. If by chance you withdraw from the class because you didn't feel like you were going to be successful, you get a C- or lower, then you will have to pay the school district back that tuition. And then students may be responsible for other fees like lab fees or books, but there is assistance available for that. And that's not the case for every class.
So I don't know how much do you want to get into this. Yeah, there we go. There it is. So your kids mostly know to get in touch with either myself or Mr. Tressler, depending upon who's their counselor. And we will help then get them in touch with Kristen. So that's the first step, is just to let us know that they're interested in a class. Right now, it has been a little crazy because of this situation. So we've been going back and forth, and we have a list of students who have reached out to us. A lot of them have already taken steps to get themselves in on the list for Accuplacer or have already taken it, or to do multiple measures, or we've sent their BSAT scores or SAT scores. So lots of things, and we're getting everybody in touch with Kristen and asking lots of questions of Kristen and Amy. So that's where we start. The second thing listed is the application for concurrent enrollment. And we're trying to encourage all of our students to go ahead and just get that done, so that if they choose to do a class at any time, they've already gotten that step done, and we're not all scrambling, because it kind of becomes a bit of a scramble. So it's nice to have that part done already. And then we get in touch with Kristen, like I said. So that's kind of the basic. And then there's lots of other questions along the line.
There's always more detail, more in-depth, right? But it is really important that you all are communicating with Mr. Tressler and Mrs. Tolma, because if you come to me and say you want to take a class, I then am going to say, what class? And I'm going to email your counselors and say, hey, Billy Joe just emailed me and said they want to take, I don't know, a psychology class. And then maybe Mrs. Tolma says, oh, but they don't need any more social studies credits, or they don't need any more electives in that area. So then, then it goes back to, well, why do you want to take the class, right? Going back to what I said earlier, the true intention is to be getting the high school credit and the college credit at the same time. And there are plenty of opportunities to be taking a class that's not for high school credit, and it's just so you have that college credit. But that is the true intention of the program, is to make sure you are double dipping. You're getting the credit for both with one class. So make sure you discuss that and what you need to graduate and what fits in your schedule and all of those great details with the counselors. And then if you have not completed an application, you only need to do it one time. But if you have never completed the application, then you'll want to go in and do that. And it's pretty simple, about 3 pages, and it's super fast. I'd say 5-10 minutes max. And I'm always available. Email me anytime.
Okay. So we are at the question and answer portion. I'm going to leave this slide up so that you can all get down these phone numbers and email addresses. Really, Kristen and Meryl are the right first places to start if you think you'd like to enroll. I believe you've all also received what we call a bulletin of our classes, which is a listing of all the things that we're offering in the high school. I believe that your wonderful principal emailed that out to all of you from her listserv. But if you're looking for that again, you can go onto our CMC website. And if you just choose the drop-down menu for campuses and choose the Salida campus, there is a button there that you can press, and it will bring up a PDF with all the different academic classes and Friday career academies and career and technical education programs. So look that over with your student and think about what you might want to take. Please put your questions in the chat. We're going to hang out here with the chat for a little while, and I will read those out loud. We did have a question as we were presenting. Somebody asked whether we could speak to the benefit of concurrent enrollment versus AP courses if a student passes the AP course successfully, and the value of that compared to concurrent enrollment. So I always tell people there's value in all of these different programs that your students have access to, right? And it's all about a student fit. So my story about this is actually about my own daughter. So my daughter was an okay student and terrible at a test. So she could demonstrate the knowledge, and she could demonstrate competency while she was in the class and turned in her homework and all those things, but you put her in front of a scary 3-hour test and she would just bomb. So AP was not a great option for her, even though the AP class was, because she got all that dense learning and became a better student by taking that class. But then she never got the scores that would actually mean anything when she took them to college. So for my particular student, concurrent enrollment was a great choice. We also have students who can just go in and ace those AP exams and take that credit with them on to their next institution. So it really is about working with your counselor and talking to your student and figuring out what the best thing is for them. We're also working with the high school to create classes where the students will have both options. So they will be able to take what previously was the AP class, and they'll be able to get CMC credit for that, and or they're able to sign up and take that AP exam at the end. And then the last part of that is that you really also need to look at the institution that your child is looking to go to. Some institutions don't take AP credit. A few institutions won't take R credit. So if you're sort of getting down to that nitty-gritty of where your student might be thinking of going, you're going to want to look at that also. So both great programs, both integrated, both part of your choices that you have at Salida High School, which is awesome, and picking the right thing for your student will be the key. So I think we just had another question come in. You mentioned these credits are good for Colorado colleges. What about out of state? That's a question from Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. This is sort of our most asked question, and I'll answer part of it and then probably throw it out to the team a little bit. So we have an agreement that is throughout the state of Colorado, public colleges, every public college is part of a guaranteed transfer agreement. So you take an English class here, it's the same English class you would take at CU Boulder. So that's easy, right? What Sarah's asking is, what about out of state? So unfortunately, there is no one answer for that. In my 8 years with Colorado Mountain College, I have only ever seen Ivy League colleges that have not taken our credits in any way, shape, or form. Every other out-of-state institution has taken our credits in some form or another. So again, I'm going to rely on my parenting experience. My daughter got 13 CMC credits when she was in high school, and she went off to University of Montana. And the University of Montana took all of her credits. There were about 6 of them that went directly into her major, and the others went into elective credits, which most majors have anyway. So they took all the credits, but the way they take those credits is going to be different every place. So it's a little bit individualized. Most schools are going to take our credits, and then they're, like I said, when we get to Ivy League, that's a whole different ballgame. We had an amazing student here at Leadville last year who graduated Lake County High School with 2 associate's degrees and got a full ride scholarship to Dartmouth. Dartmouth didn't take a single credit because Dartmouth doesn't need to. And we were pretty proud of Damien because part of taking college classes when you're in high school better prepares you and makes your application a lot stronger. So that's kind of an extreme star student example, but it's a little bit all over the map. So sorry I don't have one yes or no answer for you, but I've never seen a student come back and say, I wish I'd never taken a college class during high school. However they use those credits or that experience, it usually serves them in just becoming a stronger student. Other questions? Throw them in the chat, please. Bad spelling is always okay in the chat. I think we're all getting used to that during coronavirus. Bad spelling in the chat. It's just fine. Oh, Meryl wants me to unmute her. Yes. There you go, Meryl.
Yeah, I was just going to say this because this question in particular has come up quite a bit. So have your students talk to us, and we will call and look into each individual college, and they can typically give us a pretty good idea. What I've heard thus far is that they will mostly transfer pretty easily all over the nation because it's an accredited institution. But we can also specifically ask before they sign up, we can ask more specifically, will these certain classes count? So I did hear from somebody today at CSU that was happy to hear that we were offering college algebra at school and encouraged kids that are planning to be in the Colorado school system to take that. But reach out to us, we'll help you, we'll find answers.
What other questions out there? Sure, whatever you're thinking you need to ask, somebody else wants to know as well.
Yeah.
Oh, Tammy is asking, what about the online options of classes they can take? I'm going to pitch that one over to Amy Dennis, because she's been working on this for quite some time, and I will unmute Kristen as well.
Great, thank you. So yes, we do have, I mean, CMC is a system. We do offer online classes, and it's kind of the same as for the face-to-face classes if a student is college ready. There is that option. We encourage high school students to take face-to-face classes just because online classes is it's not always the easiest environment, especially sometimes for a younger student. You have to be very organized and very self-motivated, but it is an option, especially if there is a very specific kind of class. If a student really wants to learn about criminal justice, you know, that might be a class that they could look into. We also offer face-to-face classes in Salida in the evenings as well. So if a student really wants to take a class that doesn't fit into their daytime schedule or isn't being offered, but there's an evening version or option that they can register for, we have those available in Salida as well.
Yeah, and I would just like to add that some experience that I've had with students, younger students, maybe current 9th graders, not too many of them, but current 10th graders, you know, maybe they want to take one class, but their high school schedule is really full and they only get 1 hour off and it's a specific hour and no class fits in that. And their after school programs, their theater, their, you know, soccer, their whatever it is, and they can't do an after school class because they're, you know, they can't commit. They have practice till 6 p.m. and the class starts at 6 or it starts at 3:30 or whatever the case. We have had students take online courses in those cases, and there are a few, health and fitness being one of them, is one that does not require college level placement. So it's a really good one for students to start with. It's probably the biggest one that I have seen, or the most commonly taken one that I've seen among the younger students. And it's just one class that is a good introductory level into what college work means, and it's very applicable to people's lives, as it's talking about the health and fitness in America and obesity and eating disorders and what is a calorie and how to live a healthy lifestyle. So I find that students really relate to it and they really enjoy the class.
Thank you, Kristen. We've got another question. I'm going to punt this one to Amy Dennis. Somebody's asking about automotive. Amy, will the students learn more than brakes, or is this a starting point? Could you explain that program just a little bit more?
Yes, absolutely. So the answer to the question is yes. So it is a starting point, but yes, they will learn more. So the way we've done it is if the student takes the automotive classes with Mr. Tonoff at the high school, they're going to learn all the different kinds of things in the various classes that Mr. Tonoff can offer. As far as CMC, as far as getting college credit though, CMC worked with Mr. Tonoff very closely to look at what he teaches, what we had available within our academic catalog, and we decided that for the college credit part of things, we could give credit towards the brakes certificate, brakes classes. But that doesn't mean that they aren't going to learn other areas of the automotive in his classes. They just aren't eligible for college credit right now.
Great, thank you, Amy. All right, feel free to dump any more questions in the chat. I'm going to check in with our fearless high school leader here and just ask Tammy if we covered everything you'd want parents to know, Tammy, or if there's anything else you think we should highlight.
I think that's a great overview of the whole program. I would encourage any parent to please share with other people who weren't able to attend. We are recording this session, so we will be posting it so other people can learn from it. But please reach out to Rob, Merrill, or myself, and we would be happy to, if you're not sure where to go, to point you in the right direction. And Kristen and Amy are usually around too. So please, if you think of something after we're done here, give us a call, shoot us an email, because we're excited to have CMC here. This is a great benefit for our students to leave Salida High School with college credit as they move on, whether they're thinking about going for an associate's degree or maybe even getting a doctorate. It's a great start, and it's free to you guys. So it's a great benefit we're offering you. And by annexing CMC here, we have just opened the doors, and we hope that we can keep building this program and offering more and more classes for your students. So we're excited to have them here, and we're excited to work with them. So please reach out, and we will answer as many questions as we can or get you to the right person.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for taking your valuable time to hear a little bit more about this program. And as Tammy said, please do reach out, and thank you for your patience as we learn how to navigate this virtual format. We hope that pretty soon here we'll be hosting some sort of fun evening at the high school where we can all be together and get to know each other in person a little bit more. We look forward to that time. Take care. Take care of beautiful Salida for us, and we will see you all soon. Thanks so much.